I am Haunted, your host for today. Oh, hi, everybody. Welcome to Play Weird. My name is Haunted. Today, we're going to be working on a hopeful prospect. So, sit back, relax, enjoy. Grab your paintbrush if you got one handy, and let's get to painting. First, got to put on the eyeballs. And we're going to work on one of the hopeful prospects here, which they're kind of safari-looking dudes. So they're out on a safari in the savannah. And this one is depicted on the box art as being in a navy jacket, navy trench. Sorry, I was picking up some background noise here. And that's what we're going to be doing right now. We're going to be painting this guy up here and here somewhere. Yeah, there we go. That guy. A little discombobulated today. Sorry about that. We are going to try a different base coat today. I'm going to go with some Scale 75 Artist Acrylics. I got in on the Kickstarter on these, and I do love the paint. So I haven't used them enough lately, so we're going to give that a shot. This is going to be the first color we put down for the base on his jacket. We will do a quick scheme of color on the flesh bits first. You always want to work up your flesh before you start working up the next layer. At least that's the way I normally do things. Oh Lord, we've got focus issues. Come on, baby. There we go. Sorry about that. Now these guys are from the Explorers. Oh boy, I just dropped my paintbrush. Explorer Society starter box. They are pre-assembled. They require a little removal flash. Don't require it. They look better if you remove a little bit of the flash. And this guy had a little nub on the back of his gun that I had to remove from a snip sprue piece. But otherwise, they are basically ready to glue on bases and run with them. So it makes it quick to get into the game. This guy has a pretty epic beard. We'll get to that later, of course. I have to put on the big glasses for that. I know it's kind of a strange flesh tone, but I tend to start with this orange brown. It has pretty decent coverage without being too thick. So I use it as my first coat for flesh, just because flesh takes an abnormally large number of coats to get put down. So especially on stream, when I'm trying to do things quicker, I tend to do this color first. Yep, Cat, I hear you. Okay, so we got that down. That base is down at least. Dead Aussie Gamer, are you still here? If you are, how are you doing? I waved earlier, but I don't know if you saw that or not. This particular color was not actually used, but it looks like it's got more of a green tint to it than the blue on the packaging. But inside the tube, it looks more dark blue. We'll see. I guess there's a green undertone to it. Very, very slight green tone to it. This is a nice color to work up from. I wish I hadn't dropped my big brush. I had it set out specifically for doing the space coat, and it fell on the floor. So yeah, we're working without that one today. I have really been enjoying these Explorer models that I've painted so far. Um, they're not overly like dynamic. But that's nice. No more tippy toe poses. So yeah, I like that part. I did Mr. Nagatoro, Nagatoro, however you say it. I did him last night. Well, actually, I did him the night before last, and then just finished up his weapon. I was waiting to hear back on whether the client wanted freehand nut on the blade or not. And since they did, I finished it up last night. But it was basically done the night before. And I did post a picture of that up on Weird's Facebook page, as well as my own, which is Haunted Hobbies. The username. What suggestions do I have for folks starting out on freehand? One, probably going to need a brush that has a good, decent tip. And you don't have to use a very small brush. I used this one, in fact, last night, which is a number 2. Now, granted, it's a relatively small number 2, but I can get a pretty decent point on it. And I've been wrecking this brush, honestly, and it's held up pretty good. They seem to be hit or miss, this particular brand. I've got another couple that are crap and then a couple that are really good. So this is one of the good ones. Normally I use Broken Toads, and same difference. This is the one I normally use, number 2 from Broken Toad, and you can see the difference in size. They're huge, right? But again, it's got a very, very tiny point, super tiny point, and it holds that point really well. So that's the first tip. Get a brush that has a nice point, that holds some point. Once you add paint to it. The other thing is you need to stabilize. And it's hard to show because I don't have an overhead camera. But basically, you're going to want to lock your hands together in some fashion. And I typically put this portion of my arms, I don't know if you can see that portion right there, of my both arms on the desk. If you go lower, if you go down here, you can hit a nerve, and this will cause your arm to go numb. Hey, Richard, thank you for that like. Appreciate that. So you definitely don't want that to happen. Okay. So go up a little bit higher right here. And that's where you want to place your arms. That forms 2 points of your tripod, right? And your other point is your hands locked together. Okay. Um, Now, sometimes what I will do is if I'm really needing something to be stable, I'll just go ahead and put one hand down on the desk and then lock my other hand to it. I typically use this finger as a brace, a pinky. Um, and then the other thing with freehanding is you want your paint thin but not watery. Okay, because watery is you're going to lose control. So it's a fine line that you have to get to. I wish I had my palette cam set up yet so I could show you kind of the consistency, but you're wanting it right before the paint kind of starts to break. And then just it's a matter of taking breaking the freehand down into shapes, recognizable shapes. Like if you're painting something that's like a figure, you want to break it into, a couple oblong shapes or whatever like that. If it's and work it up from there. Okay. Freehand is about making shapes that are recognizable and learning to build them up. So yeah, I don't want to get too far off on that. I will show Mr. Nagatoro's freehand real quick. His is relatively simple. I just did a like a tribal scrimshaw. I don't know if you can see it, but it was 2 simple lines, straight up and down, which and then just triangles in between. And it really isn't even triangles. It's just a zigzag, a very neat zigzag. And then I did that on the other side as well. So that's all I did for his. And it's just enough that gives it a little bit of oomph. It's not quite like the box art, but it implies what's on the box art at least. Thank you. Appreciate that. I am kind of surprised with this paint. It's one of the more transparent ones I've used. Most of the other ones have been really opaque. This one's kind of like oil paints. When you pick up a phthalo blue, it's like super translucent. You wouldn't think it looking at it, but it is. This would have been a good one to put over a zenithal, like old Doug does, because it is nice and thin. It would show those highlights right through. But we didn't do that. We were going for straight coverage. Which means we're going to be putting a couple more coats on here, I think. All right. I got to say one thing else about the Scale 75 colors. They stink. They're almost like oil paints. And they don't taste good either. And I don't typically like lick my brushes with paint on them. I always make sure they're rinsed first. But these, even when they're rinsed, they're still horrible. Okay. Getting that base color in there. Remember, this is just the base. We'll be doing another blue build up from there. I dropped out of focus again. It could be just my camera. See, is that his belt? I do believe that is the lower half of his belt. Good. Okay. I know this base coating is not always the super most exciting thing to watch. Kind of like watching paint dry. But it will pick up once we get this down, I promise. So I know it's a bit delayed, but I'm going to be going and getting my first inoculation today. Just I guess I have been really lucky. I mean, I take precautions, obviously. I wear a mask everywhere I go. I try and limit my outside exposure as much as possible. Um, Luckily, where I work does not involve any humans. Um, so I have very little human contact at work, which is nice. I mean, not, nice, but I mean, it cuts down on the exposure chances. Um, I tend to make shopping once a week. So I just build up a big list and go one time. So that cuts down on exposure. And I've been pretty lucky, but apparently two of my cousins and one of that cousin's wife have come down with it and have not had a good time. Scott has actually had trying to think of the word, just flew out right out of my head. Um, has had basically blood clots in his lungs or form in his lungs. So he's not had a good time. So I was like, well, I think it is about time for me to go get my vaccination. I might have a good immune system, but apparently the rest of my family doesn't. So I'm not going to risk it for them. Okay. We're just about at the point where we can let this dry. So we're going to work on his boots next. Well, actually, we'll work on the hat, then we'll work on the boots. Yeah, that's what we'll do because we have a plan. Okay. So I'm thinking we're probably going to do a rich brown for the boots. Maybe tan, like khaki for the wraps. Because it does look like the boots and the wraps are a separate item on him. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. Just a little bit more coverage here. Gosh. He just does not want to cover his booty. 14 coats here. Like, nope, I'm not going to cover it. I just refuse. It's a very stubborn paint. I was trying to think of what it smells like. I think I realize now what it is. It's almost like turpentine. Turpentine, not time. That's the kind of smell it has, which is very unusual for an acrylic. Usually acrylics do not have that kind of smell. Get the under rim of his hat. Now, on that freehand thing, I'm going to be doing quite a lot of that once I get to the Turning Tides box, because Harata Nagatatoro, or however you say his name, basically the other guy's brother, the one that I showed you earlier, I think is his brother, relative of some sort. Anyways, he's got that facial tattoo, and basically goes right down his arm. So we're going to be doing some freehand work with that one, and we may do it on stream if that's something there's some request for. It will be probably, it may not be good material for weird, because it's probably going to be a lot of non-interaction, because I'm going to be concentrating so hard. But if they have enough people that want to watch it, I definitely can do that. So yeah, that is something that will be coming up in the near future. We'll also be doing some resin pour bases for these guys as well. Not this one in particular, but for the Turning Tides and the rest of the EBS crew. Tomoko. Oh, okay. Wow, learned something. How about that? I was going to say tribal tattoo, but that kind of sounded bad too. So I was just like, it's one of those that goes from the face down the arms and chest and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what we're doing. Golden rule, work from the lowest point on up. Yep. Mm-hmm. I'm just now seeing those over on the left hand side. I'm an idiot for not looking over there. Sorry about that. Got my second. First won't be so bad. Second one, I give you 24-hour bug. Just double check. Yeah, I've heard that the second one, you have a much stronger reaction to it if your immune system is strong. And like I said, I'm a bit like Wolverine. I get sick about once every 5-6 years. So I got a hell of an immune system. So it's probably going to knock me in the dirt. Okay, just getting this. I use a absolute ton of this color. So if you guys ever have a need for just about, I mean, it can be used for bone, it can be used for khaki, it can be used for non-metallic gold, whatever. Just do yourself a favor, pick up English uniform, Japanese uniform, and ice yellow. You'll need a white, you'll need a nice brown to go with them, but I use Rhinox hide as my brown, wherever the hell that went. There it is. So I use that one. And then this is the English uniform, the darker one. Oh boy, my camera just went stupid again. Come on, there we go. Japanese uniform, and then ice yellow, and either a white or an ivory, either one of those. But those three main colors there are so versatile. A work of art painting, a work of art, artception, nice. How are you doing, Dead Aussie Gamer? I saw you in earlier. How you been? Doing good. Should be sleeping, but no rest for the wicked. I hear you. Yes, yes, yes. I understand that entirely. Still need to get your skinny hopeful prospect done. Yeah, I've got him and the fat boy here. I can't say anything. I should say my twinsy in a safari uniform. Yeah, I've got him to do still. I'm gonna have to rebend his gun again though. It is snap back again. But yeah, I'm having fun painting through these. If you guys didn't see, sorry, since we do have a few people here, I'm going to show off this. We finished it up. We don't have the base yet, but there is the Bellhop Porter finished up. So yeah, he's done. And then we got Mr. Nagatoro done. He's not as exciting from the side, so I'll show front and back. Come on, camera. Come on. Thank you, Ben. Appreciate it. Okay. I don't think it's my camera. What is going on? Come on, focus. There we go. Wow. It's actually autofocus, but it's like you can actually hear it. It gets stuck occasionally. I need a new one. Unfortunately, it's the last of its kind that has the Carl Zeiss optics, so I don't want to get rid of it. But yeah, it acts like a manual focus sometimes. And then we got Maxine done. God, are you doing it again? Yeah, yes. Apparently, a tooth of an ancient creature. I don't know if a titan or what. Come on. Good God, what is up with this? I'm sorry for screen shakes, guys, but I'm trying to get this camera to focus. It's just not wanting to do it. Anyways, there's Maxine. Got her finished up. So I've been having a lot of fun with these Explorer Society miniatures. Um, you love the writing? Nice. That was an optional thing, and yeah, I decided to do that. I didn't go quite as crazy as what was on the box art, but I wanted to show a little bit of it. So his Chunky Pal was the first model you did on the Weird Stream. Really, I must have missed that one. I thought I'd seen most of your streams. I guess not. I guess I came in and when you started on the mechanical doggy dude with the harpoon on his back. Yeah. Apparently, I don't know if this is from lore or if this is a special on the card, but the blade is apparently supposed to be, or the tooth is supposed to have poison effect of some sort. So I don't know if you guys were able to see it because the camera was acting up, but I actually drew a little bit of bright green kind of coming out of the pores of the tooth. You know, it's got those little divots in it as a way to represent that. Also, I had just started on my journey into the lore because I figure, hey, be talking about these miniatures all day long. I need to know a little bit more about them than the crew's stats that I have. So I started listening to Breachside broadcasts, and I picked up all the old M2E books. I haven't gotten to reading them yet, but I've gotten through the first half dozen or so of the Breachside broadcast programs. I am glad you did. I know she was nervous as hell having a professional in her stream, but I think you had a good time, or you I think she was afraid of critique, too much critique, and you didn't do that. You were just there to have a good time. Is what I meant to say. So we would definitely, I'm sure, be happy to have you again. Your character cracked me up because definitely seemed like the way old Ramsey would act. So you did a good job there. No, you were not. That's what I'm saying. I think that's what she was afraid of, was that you might be critical because she's not on your level, kind of thing. Like I said, I think you're just there to have a good time, and I'm glad you did. Yeah. that I don't guess we can talk. We can't probably talk a lot about it because details. So or beta. So I won't say any further about it. But yeah. Okay. Get a little bit there up underneath his armpit. I'm going to apologize in advance if you hear my stomach growl. I totally skipped a lunch today. So it is it's letting me know it's not happy. All right, let's see here. Just about got this color based in. We'll hit his hat just one more quick time here in a second, and then we'll begin working on the highlights and stuff. So just you hang in there. So since I have a few people in here, what would be something you guys would like to see painted? Not just model wise, because I've got models. But in fact, I did a spreadsheet the other day showing which models I have, and I've got probably, I think it was right at 60% of the line, which isn't a lot until you start counting the number of boxes, I guess. But anyway, so model wise, I'm probably going to have you covered. But is there a technique that's outstanding that people would like to see done or explained or whatever? What can we do to better make your streaming experience a good one? Push that over for the back there. Just saw that message that she was fighting the camera for me. I appreciate it. I don't know what the heck is going on with my camera today. It is be a full-time job, it looks like. Okay, this that I'm putting on right now is a dark Prussian blue from Vallejo. It's not a lot lighter, but it's a little bit lighter, right? Hey, Caesar, how you doing? Have I had a chance to play Maxine? I have not. I haven't honestly had a chance to play much at all. I'm more a painter than a player, unfortunately. I just haven't had the time to play much. So I am absolutely probably one of the worst Malifaux players you'll ever come across. Because I don't spend the time doing the homework, I mean, I know the basics of the game, rule wise and stuff like that. But when it comes to keeping track of all the schemes and strats and all the interactions my crew was having, it just kind of overloads my poor little brain. And I know that's just going to come with time, and reps, and I just haven't gotten to it yet. Um, so yeah, I don't know how Maxine plays, unfortunately. But she was a fun model to paint. Still trying to figure her style out for a game I got this weekend. Oh, okay, cool. Well, I could always ask the guy I'm painting her for what his, kind of like game plan is with her, because he's very tactical, and pass it on to you, I guess. Definitely don't have to worry about you guys sharing meta or anything, so you won't have a problem telling. You can see this. It's not a whole lot of difference between these two. Just basically a little bit darker shade color, pretty much, for the Prussian blue. In fact, we're not going to do a whole lot down here because this is basically tiny wrinkles, so we'll do the bigger highlights down here. We hit a few spots, but mostly it's going to be the brighter colors. Not all the way bright because it is still in shadow, right? But definitely brighter than the Prussian blue. Okay. So I know we're working with Prussian blue, and then we're working with dark Prussian blue, and it seems like dark Prussian blue would go first, but in this weird world we're in, actually dark Prussian blue is lighter than Prussian blue. Yeah. I'm hoping you guys can see the differences here in these. The camera may just be a little too dark. I'm not sure. I can see a difference, but I don't know if that translates. But the next color, you definitely will start seeing a difference. So don't worry too much. Salty sea bass. Next, you'll be telling me ultramarine blue is actually purple. It is kind of purple. How are you doing, sir? Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. So I'll ask you, since you just popped in, didn't get much response on anybody else. Anything you'd like to see me paint next stream, be it either model wise or a technique you'd like to see? I know you're a well, established painter yourself, but just thought I'd offer it. If there's anything you'd want to see. Wrapping up a commission and happy to get back to prepping some alpha projects. Nice. Very nice. Ben says, my dinner is here, so got to run. Good seeing you've been working on. No problem, Ben. Have a great night. Enjoy your dinner. Enjoy those noms. We do got a little belt around a thing that goes around his hat. Probably will paint it brown or khaki, one of the two. So we do need to make sure we take that into account when we're painting this. Like we don't have to put any detail there. Trying to think of something I hadn't covered. Well, yeah. Okay, so now we're going to start mixing in a little bit of flat blue with our ultramarine blue, or our dark Prussian blue. You got me saying ultramarine now. Texturing. I have done a little bit of that when I worked on the bellhop porter with breaking out the stippling brush and stuff. But yeah, we could do some of that. What would we do it on though? That's a good idea. I'll have to work with that. Okay. Come in here with a little bit of this mix now. Should start popping on the camera a little bit more. Oh, my goodness. Got the ringy dingy in my ears today, guys. But the Hunchback of Notre Dame is in my head, clanging the bells. Okay. I should start seeing this color pop a little bit, I think, around now. It's definitely standing out more on my end. Like I said, the dark blue is kind of might be hard to capture, but I think this should start appearing on screen now at this point. A little bit more water in there. Okay. Was that a follow? Did I miss a follow? Was that Mr. Zealous? Thank you for that follow. Thought I saw something flash across the screen. Got a sub from YouTube. Okay. Well, thank you for that sub. Appreciate that. I knew I saw something flash. I just didn't see what it was. I'm going to have to reinforce the shadow a little bit more on that one. I think it's gotten a little bright. Okay. So now we're doing a little bit of jumping here from one section of the blue to the other. There's a lot of sections here. Nice big lid there in that pocket, or a nice big flap on the pocket there. Okay. Gotta hurry and finish this because that color is like bleeding across my wet palette. I won't have it for much longer. Nice little wrinkle right there. We've got some work around this closure area to work. Of course, here on the lapels. across the shoulder and chest as well. Look at those areas. Okay. I'm shifting my little background all over the place. Sorry about that, guys. We'll switch over to this side here, where the visible portion. He does have these tiny little buttons on his cuffs, so we'll come in with some gold there, using our. Oh, hello, Captain Sneezy Pants. Thank you for making an appearance today. That is my cat. He has a sneezing problem. Hey, how are you doing, Doug? Welcome in, welcome in. That looks really bright. We'll see how that looks once it tones down a little bit. Because all paint starts out brighter and then fades a bit. Loses some of that intensity. Popping in for a few minutes before you have to run some errands. I hear you. Well, I appreciate that. Lurks are always good. Okay, so maybe just a wee bit more of that here on the bicep, but not a lot more. So right in there, just some fullness of the chest. Otherwise, he looks pretty thin. Okay, then we'll just go to our flat blue at this point and do some edging. Thank you for that like. Appreciate that, Doug. We did not go super bright on this because I really didn't want to take it up too far into bright blue. I wanted it to keep that kind of navy aspect of it. So it is going to be, by that nature, a darker blue. So like I said, it may not show up super well on the camera. We'll have to see how it does. Ooh, wow, I got crazy with that one. Let's correct that a little bit. And that's always a good skill to have, is staying cool under pressure when you make a mistake. I have gotten to where I announce it. Used to, I didn't do it, and people in the stream would say, "Oh, you missed a spot." And I was like, "Yeah, I know. I was getting back to it." So now I've started just announcing it. When I make a mistake, I tell you. So I don't have to hear anybody else tell me I've made a mistake. But anyways, ideas: stay cool. Don't worry about it. You can always paint over it. I used to panic when I'd make mistakes, and of course, panicking induced more mistakes, because at that point you start, you lose that coolness, you lose that edge, you lose that focus. So yeah, just gotta focus down and stay with it. And the other thing to remember is every model goes through a hot garbage phase. It really does. There's a point where it just looks horrible, and that too shall pass. It takes time. It takes you keeping at it, but it's like those mistakes. You got to persevere. You got to push through it, get past that hot garbage phase, and then the rest of it will come on through. Sometimes that phase doesn't end till you finish. That is true. Sometimes it goes a lot longer than it should. Most of the time, it's just like when you're putting down the base coats, you get that everything just looks sloppy until you start getting that, the recesses filled in, you start getting the highlights in, and once you get that done, that cut in part, it does start coming together. But yeah, there are cases where it goes on a lot longer than normal, and those are particularly tough to deal with. That's, because it's a mental health thing. You gotta fight yourself with it. You're not fighting against anybody else. You're fighting yourself. That sense of wanting to give in, give up, because it doesn't look like it should just yet. Okay, just cutting some of these wrinkles in here. Wondering, should I highlight that seam? It looks pretty prominent, doesn't it? And I may come back in and wash those highlights down just a wee bit. They look mighty bright. Looks like we've adjusted the camera brightness, so we can see the blues a little bit more now. Okay, there we go. Woo, edging, fun. Sure, we're going to tone these down just a wee bit. They are exceptionally bright. Back here. A little bit of a wrinkle there. Okay. So what's your next project going to be, Salty? Are you working on some more Bayou, or are you working on something else? Get a little bit of edge right here in that cuff. Here we go. And pull in a little bit darker color here to do the backside edge. So it's like well up underneath his arm. Oh, where is it? There it is. Okay. Okay, looks like we have missed Salty. Go catch the edge of that flap there. And this corner here as well. I'll do the same for the other side. So I rewatched an old series I haven't seen. Well, not old. I mean, it is, but it's not like super duper old. But I rewatched a series. It popped up in my recommended list on Hulu called Wayward Pines. Anyone seen that one? Definitely think they could have been nice if they could have finished it, especially since they did get a second season, which is very unusual with Fox for anything that is a reality show. But it did not make it past that. No? Okay. All right, let's see if we can get this edge on his pocket done. This flap here. That's what I'm sorry, what I meant to say. Here we go. Get that line cut here. More pronounced on this one because of the seam there. All right. Now we got a couple little wrinkles on his back to take care of. Maybe one right here, maybe. I feel like these here on his this back arm are still just a little too bright. So I'm going to tone those down just a wee bit more. Basically just putting a glaze of dark Prussian blue over them. And hopefully that will tone those suckers down a wee bit. Okay. I think we're getting our blue about where we want it. Just a little more work there. That is a bit abrupt on here. So we're going to take a little bit of that in between the dark Prussian blue and the flat blue. And just kind of make a little pass with the glaze over it. And that should clear that right up. Soften that edge up a bit. If it doesn't, we'll come back to it. Okay, so let's work on the browns a bit. This is a right. Ooh, nice. I like that flex there. Sometimes that's good. I tend to use my Rhinox hide as a base for brown or leather 99% of the time. Sometimes I'll start with a more tan approach, but most of the time, that's always the rich Rhinox hide. I think that's supposed to be a belt loop there. So I'm going to leave that. In fact, I'm going to hit it with a hot blue highlight so it stands out as a belt loop. And I may need to do that in the front. Let's see here. No, it's just his buckle and the tail of the belt. So no belt loops. Good. All right, so get that shiny blue, flat blue here. This will make us a nice little belt loop that everybody can see. There, bow. That's a belt loop. Okay. Now, as a first highlight for that leather, we're going to go with some. I always forget this color, Dune Bull Brown. That's what I was looking for. It's a bit on that red side, kind of like the Rhinox. Rhinox actually has a little bit of a purple undertone, red or purple. I'm not sure which it technically is, but it can flow with either. So Dune Bull having that same kind of red tone is a great little highlight color for it. The palette is this, sir. It is. There went my other brush. Dadgummit. Started out the stream dropping a brush, and then I dropped my other one. Hang on one second. Kim, if you're listening, we can probably darken the screen back down a little bit since the blue's finished up. It's a little on the bright side. All right, so what we did for the base sea bass is we did Prussian blue from Scale 75 Artist Acrylic. Then we did dark Prussian blue, and then we did dark Prussian blue and flat blue about 2-to-1, and then that right there, flat blue by itself. So that was the palette. Oh, actually, that looks good now, I think. Yeah, Dune Bull Brown's a great color. I'm finding myself kind of stretching because I've never done a whole lot of leather until I got into Malifaux. And Malifaux is like every model is leather. And they're covered with leather doohickeys everywhere. So I'm having to stretch myself a little bit with Malifaux. Which is definitely not a bad thing. And as browns are one of the things I have probably the fewest colors of. So I've been doing a lot of mixing with my non-metallic metal palette. I pull a lot of Japanese uniform into the browns now. I find this is like my new favorite way to go with highlights. So yeah. What have you done? What do you mean? What have you done? I don't get it. Oh, you by saying that I dropped the brush. Oh no, that's just me being a klutz. I'm sorry. Context takes me a second here. I was just about to put that Japanese uniform straight on the model before mixing it with my Dune Bull because, you know, reasons. Main reason is it's got a good bit of white in it, but it doesn't turn the brown, that pink white color that you tend to get. It kind of maintains a worn leather look. That's why I like putting that Japanese uniform into my browns now, because a lot of browns turn pink, and that isn't attractive. not on leather. We're gonna have to do that buckle here in a second. Let's get this. I'm going to do, actually, I think I'm going to do London Gray first for buttons and buckles and stuff. London Gray is a little bit darker than neutral gray without going into dark gray territory. So let's get a button here. There. Does it bother anybody else his buttons are crooked? Because it bothers me. I know it's because he's kind of like pulling the jacket up, but it's like, oh God, those buttons should be straight across. Makes my brain itch. For a person that dresses so casually, a button askew drives me nuts. Doesn't make much sense though that I'm okay dressing like a slob. At least you're not dealing with rivet counters. Oh, good God, no kidding. No, I could not deal with that. Rivet counters. Or rivet profilist, because those are just as bad. Profile's not right on this rivet. It's got too many sides. Not enough sides. Not the right size. Me. So do you do a lot of historicals there, Doug? Because I used to paint a lot. Not for myself, but as commission. And they were all done, you know, they're all small scale. What is it, 20 mil? The standard for those. But I also did a lot of 15 and 6 mil scale, I think. And they were never anything to like really look at. So I never really posted them up. You never paint historicals. Oh, okay. Okay. You say that because the outfit he's wearing could fit into the custom. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it could. But yeah, I did a lot. But like I said, they weren't anything to ever write home about. So I never have any pictures on my socials for those. They used to pay the bills back when bills were cheaper. If someone wanted to pay me, I would, but the rates go. Yeah, I agree. Commission painting like that, army painting, nearly put me off painting forever. Like, just a little piece of your soul dies every time you do one. That's why I like Malifaux so much, because each character has, or each model is a character. You know, even your minions that you have 3 of, they're all different, and that just, it makes me happy because there's individuality there. So you're not painting that same figure over and over 100, 200, 1,000 times. So yeah, I definitely like Malifaux for that. Not only that, but for scale size, you know, or scale of armies, you know, you're dealing with maybe 17, 18 figures for a keyword typically at a time. Got a little plug here in this paint. Yeah, even though Lowliest model has some character and it's different from his buddies that are the same stat card as he is or she is. And that makes me happy. That other war game has so much sameness. God, I am sorry, guys. It's taking a while. That is a really bad. Look at that. There's a big old paint globule there that was blocking it. My tip. Okay. We're just going to put a little nip right up here. And there. And then right there. And then on each of the buttons. Uh-oh. Did we get us a bot? But I do want to be famous, guys. Let me talk to the bot. I want to talk to him. I'm kidding. Now you can no longer be famous. Yeah, I guess you just need to run those errands. That coming. Okay. So yeah, that part's done there. I think we might come in and hit a little bit of that flat blue here on the corners of this coat. Let's get that real quick. Just separate those a wee bit more. And if it looks too much, we can always tone it back down with some dark Prussian blue. But I think that's going to be, I think we need that little bit right there. Okay, and just a little bit on maybe this corner here. Not quite the bright stuff. A little less than the brightest stuff there. Run errands, famous. Catch y'all later. See you, Doug. Thank you so much for stopping in. Sorry, I keep getting you guys confused. I don't know why I say it when I say Gaslato. I'll get it one day. I'm horrible with names, especially Twitch to real person name. I may just start calling you Gus, and then I won't have to worry about it. Bless you, Cat. So yeah, just touching up some highlights here on this little blue bit. We'll move on to some of the other stuff, like the wrappings on his legs and his gun and stuff. I'm going to do his collar area real quick. There isn't a whole lot showing. Because most of it is that necktie, honestly. So I just slipped a little pale blue in there to make sure, but I think, oh, no, it does actually extend up above the necktie. Huh. I don't see it in the sculpt. I may need to get the big eyeballs. Hang on, guys. The big eyeballs. Okay, got our 30-minute warning a few minutes ago. I see. Yep. I do see it right up here. So, yeah. Okay, cool. We can do this then. Sometimes you got to break out the big eyeballs. And I know these things look funny, but they help. Especially when you're blind as a bat. I wasn't kidding when I say paint by the force most of the time. I really do. Like, am I kind of in the right spot? Yeah, I think I am. The force tells me so. What color is that tie? Ooh, the tie's a light blue. A light blue, like this flat blue here. There we go. Sure we got it from both sides. We got to catch that part there. Okay. Which actually is the part I painted white back here. Oh well. Again, it's one of those little corrections. We will fix it as we go. Not a biggie. Actually, no, it dips down. I think it does. Okay, so we did paint the right thing right. Sometimes you got to get a little paint on here, even if you have to go back over it later, just to see where some of the bits actually slide off too. Like, see, I was thinking that necktie was supposed to come across the back of his neck, but it doesn't. It is the white, but I had to paint part of it to see that. And sorry about that little tap on the glass there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix up a little bit of that Prussian blue, act as a wash for the necktie. So we'll just put a little bit around the knot, because that's really about the only place it needs it, is like right in here. Could maybe put a little bit down here at the V. It goes into the jacket to help blend that in. And maybe a little bit back up here. Blend that in. And I'm just going to slap it all the way around. Here we go. We got our lightest blue out. We won't go quite this light, but we'll mix some of the sky blue in with the flat blue to give us a highlight for that necktie. Because this is really, really white. We don't want to go quite that far. And you have to think too, when you do a very white color like that, because it's got a lot of white, you're going to need a lot of the other color versus this. This is probably about a 1:20 ratio, maybe, and it's still a little too bright. But I think once it dries, it'll be okay. Okay, just coming back in and reinforcing that white, which is actually pale blue. It's not actually white, but it looks it against all this blue. It's actually kind of a gray color. It's usually my go-to for white, because it as a middle tone, and I'll put a wash in to recess the recesses, and then I can build white up on the highlight, usually by mixing with the pale blue first, then going to pure white, and that gives me a nice highlight at that point. Because if you drop white down, you can't highlight it any further. So yeah. Always good with a different color there. Come in and fix that color here. Because that, we never did highlight that because I know it's going to be working around it. So now we're going to fix her up. You like the pale gray blue yourself? I have not tried that one. I need to add that to my little list. I'm guessing it's a little more gray than the pale blue that I use. Because you can see, when I hold it by itself, you can see it's actually got a nice blue tint to it. It's not really gray. Well, maybe not so much on the camera. I can see it, but you guys can't. But anyways, that's the one I use as my base. And depending if I want it to be, I mean, I can go either way. I can either do like a gray recess shade, you know, mix in a little intermediate blue, which is actually another kind of blue gray. Like this one here. See, it's got a little bit of a blue tint as well. I can mix this up as a wash. Or if I don't want to quite go that dark, I can mix these two together. But anyways, I typically go with that as a recess shade. Or I can go with a blue wash. And that looks really good if you're like doing angelic wings. You do the pale blue, you do blue wash or blue glaze, either one. And then you come back in and build it up with the pale blue and then pale blue with white. And then just white on your highlights. And it looks really superb for wings. Okay. I was hoping we were going to finish this guy, but I don't think we're going to finish him on stream today. Sad noises. Sad trombone. Wah, wah. We gave it the old school try. The old college try. Yes, we did. So I'm just going to come in here and do these little buttons while I'm thinking about it, because otherwise I'll forget them. And Lord knows we can't forget buttons. There's a little hair up in here I did not see. I have to see if I can get rid of that somehow. All right. Back to buttons. Sorry, got distracted. Obsessing about a hair that I can't reach. Okay. There's that. I do need to come back in here and hit that as well. I think we're going to do it brown as well, like his leather belt. Which won't show up super well until I get the highlight in here. We are quickly approaching the 15-minute mark, I think. I'm trying to get as much done as we can in that little bit of time, but I don't think we're going to get it. And no, I'm not being negative. I'm being a realist. um, I do believe that's a little loop, kind of like his belt loop. So we're going to come back in and paint that with a nice bright blue here in a minute to show us a belt loop. Or at least make it stand out. I think I need to do a little bit more glaze up there. Didn't quite blend that in. We got most of it, just not fully. Hopefully that will finish that blend there. Never be afraid to use your finger eraser, guys. Finger erasers are great. It could also be a little seam, but I'm going to go with it's a loop that belt goes through. So yeah, that's what we're making it. Whether that's what it is or not is what we're going to call it. Seems like the perfect place to have one. Okay, and into a little bit there on the back side of it. Get that cut in. That would be great. Okay. Now we're going to come in with some Doom Bull. We're going to highlight the edge of this belt here. Show that it's there. I'm going to cover about the top third of the belt if we can. Make sure we avoid our little belt loops that we so carefully painted in. And then we got to do our little buckle as well, because there is a buckle there. Think on his coat. That sounded like a message on my phone. They'll just have to wait. And then we'll come back in with our little London gray mix here. Cover about the top third of that buckle. Not quite all of it, but go. And then we'll get some pure white and make a little spotlight on it. And that, we're just basically going for the suggestion of the non-metallic metal that we've got some brightness, some shiny stuff up here. Go. Let's see if we can finish a little bit more of that collar back here. I know we're jumping around a little bit. We're trying to tidy up a few things before we move on, before we wrap up. I mean, I should be back on Thursday, I think. Whatever the second is. That's my days. Should be back then. We'll finish him up. Let's see here. Correct a little bit of that highlight there. Oh, Cat, really? Sorry if any of you guys heard him coughing up. Whatever it is, he coughs up. Okay. All right, well, we got the blue basically done there. And started working on the straps and the belt and such. Some, come back in here and get just a wee bit of this flesh base here on this hand, because we are going to have to touch that up later. I need to touch that whole ridge up, I think, because we lost the edge of the blue there. Okay, and then a little bit of dark Prussian, which is lighter than the Prussian that I just put down because reasons. And then we'll go to a little flat blue. And that's about all I'm going to be able to get done on him today, I think. Okay. I do need to catch those two collar edges. That I missed. We were working on a tie, and I skipped those for the moment. Let's get that in real quick. RQ. Okay. Hey, heretic. How are you doing, sir? You coming late to the party, my friend. I am about to cut out of here. We haven't got much longer. But it's good to see your face. Well, virtually anyways. Doing not bad. Had a busy day. I hear you. Hear you. So yeah, we're right at the end. We got about 3 minutes. So let's start doing a little wrap up here. We worked today on the Hopeful Prospect, which is one of the characters from the Explorers starter box. This gentleman right here. We'll finish him up on our next stream, which will be the 2nd at 3:30 p.m. So yeah. Thank you for that link there. That link will take you to all my social medias. The Most Instant of Grams, the Book of Faces, my 2 Twitch channels, because yes, I do have 2. One, which is mostly my painting, which is all Malifaux, like 99.99% Malifaux. So if you can't get enough Malifaux, come over to my channel. We'll stream some more Malifaux. The other one is more a general hobby channel where I do things like terrain building and such like that. So yeah, that little link will take you to all of those media outlets. And if you're not already following Weird, make sure you give them a follow, because follows are free, guys. They don't cost a thing. And also check them out on Facebook at I think it's Play Weird there as well. But anyways, you can find Weird on Facebook. Shouldn't be hard. Look for Weird Games first, and then you can find the group from there. So yeah, I think that's about it for now, guys. I hope you had fun with our little journey into blue. Le bleu. So yeah, we'll finish him up. He probably won't take too horribly long. We just have a little bit of flesh and the leggings and the boots and the gun, and we'll probably hit the little more rotund version after that. So guys, thank you for hanging out with me. I appreciate that. Hope to see you again tomorrow. We do have another streamer coming up. What the Foe, I think it is. He should be on, is it 3:30 or 3 today? Or am I mistaken? Let me check real quick here. Did we get that? It is 3:30. Okay. I wanted to make sure. Yes. So we will have another streamer on at 3:30. It'll be his first stream. So please come here, show some support. We would greatly appreciate it. And guys, thank you. Have a great day. Till then, stay weird.